Right, enough Aston Villa against Newcastle. What about some quick hits, Don?
Let's do it.
Liverpool will have to wait a little bit longer before being champions of England, despite the win at Leicester on Sunday, Don.
Bit squeaky. In terms of,
missed chances.
Yeah, loads of missed chances, especially early on. I mean, it was written in the stars that Trent was going to win. Honestly, it was, because I said it with about 20 minutes ago. I went, Trent's going to come on and score the winner.
Yeah.
Just because
you kind of knew it, yeah.
Just because it sort of felt that way. And they did. 13 points clear, 14 if you include a better goal difference. So the title's been done for quite a while. I don't get this myth, though, that people say Liverpool have been limping to a title. It's Arsenal that have been limping, in my opinion. 3 wins and 8.
Yeah, and also I think
Liverpool have lost one game in 29.
Even if they play 50%, they will still win or at least draw.
But they've lost one game in 29 games.
Why did you make? I think a lot of people made try to make a lot of Trent celebration and the fact that. I mean, I don't want to spoil anybody's who's still at home, but he's not staying. He's leaving for sure.
Don't ruin the dream.
People saying like he would not celebrate like this if he was leaving. No, he's leaving. I don't know. He celebrated maybe because it made him super happy, maybe because there's been a lot of criticism since we know he's going to leave. But yeah, what did you make of the celebration? I mean, he cares, clearly. It's still about the club and we'll always care.
It's emotional. It's an emotional game, Jules. And when you're a player and you're getting wrapped up in all the emotion of what's been going on over the last 6 months or so, whether that was having contact with Real Madrid and his agents doing all the work, and then you think it's close or it might not be close and you're still negotiating with Liverpool, and then you try and fast forward all that emotion off the field onto the field, and you're going for the 20th title and you're going for your second title and you score the winner.
Yeah.
That's going to get Liverpool the title away from home, which is the die-hard fans.
Yeah, exactly.
You lose it, Jules. You know, you'd have to be some pro to, what's the word? Not to not care, but to show zero emotion when you just scored the winner.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, I was never one of these players that could have a celebration, like a routine planned celebration. I should just lose it. Just go for that minute. And I think that's exactly what happened, and he vented a lot of frustration. I didn't really read anything in terms of the shirt being on the corner flag or him.
Yeah, no, me neither. I don't know. Like
maybe he's in his heart of hearts. He might be saying to one of the 2 Liverpool fans, "Calm down, quieten down," because I've give everything since I've been here as a kid. I don't know. I didn't read anything. Oh, he's definitely staying or he's definitely going.
No, that's sure. But he's going.
Of course he is, because I think you can tell by the interview afterwards. He could have easily said, which in my opinion he should have said when he got asked the question about. I have to ask the question. He should have said, "It's not about me today. It's about those travelling fans." The away fans are the die-hard Liverpool fans, and they would have loved him for saying that. He would have earned a few brownie points.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I think he was a little bit unwise in what he said afterwards. He could have just said, Liverpool fans are amazing. It's not about me. It's not about my goal. It's all for them. That's what he should have said.
Don, Leicester are officially relegated, joining Southampton in the Championship next season. They haven't scored in the last 9 Premier League games at home. And surely Ruud van Nistelrooy. I mean, I don't mind the guy, but it has to be one of the worst appointments in Premier League history since he took over. It was worse than Steve Cooper by far.
I mean, Leicester fans wanted Steve Cooper out to start the season because he's Forest connection.
Yeah.
But my word, he would have had a better chance of keeping them in division.
I agree, man.
I mean, how can you go 9 games at home when you haven't scored?
I've
never known it.
Man, 0 goals
I've
in
never
9
known
games.
it. I've never ever known it. I mean, he's obviously learning. But I think you can't really fault Ruud van Nistelrooy because he's out of his depth.
Yeah, clearly.
I think what you would do is you'd point the finger to the board and the hierarchy and say, what were you doing appointing him in the first place?
Yeah, I agree.
That's I think what you would.
And even keeping him that long, because he had like eight defeats in a row at some point, 9 defeats in a row. I'm like, why is he still there?
I know. Well, I think once you brought him in from the hierarchy, it would look a really weak and bad decision to then say, actually, we made a mistake. We're going to then fire him. That would be a hardcore decision.
Yeah.
But they just find themselves now in a world of trouble.
Would you keep him in the Championship or not?
No.
I don't think I would. He's got 2 more years left on his contract. Why did you give him 2.5 years?
I mean, the only thing you can do is you give him the first half a dozen games to see how he does.
Yeah, see how he does, I guess.
But I've played in that league, Jules. It's a brutal league. It's a brilliant league to play in. It's Saturday, Tuesday. You've got to have players that are durable. You've got to have good characters. He's called 1 or 2 out in terms of their
not
characters.
With some of the players,
Vestergaard and Winks.
Yeah.
So they either bite the bullet and sack him in the summer or now, and then give someone who knows the Championship a right good go at getting straight back.
Because they have to come back.
Rafa
financially, if they don't.
Rafa done it in Newcastle when he took them down. Plenty of managers have took teams down, good ones, and brought them back.
Yeah.
So it's a big decision.
Massive. Let's have more quick hits done.
Let's do it.
Arsenal destroy Ipswich on Sunday, a game that you've been commentating on as well. Do you think we will see the same Arsenal front six against PSG in the Champions League, because Partey, who was on the bench on Sunday, is suspended for that first leg?
I think so. I would play Declan Rice as a holder midfield player.
But then you lose out on a lot of the things he does, all the running, the energy, going forward, etc.
But I think he's capable of doing that, playing that role for a one-off game. Maybe he's changed it in the second leg if Partey's back, and then Moreno off the left, Odegaard off the right, close to Saka, Martinelli and Trossard. I think it might be the way to go. But they absolutely destroyed Ipswich. I mean, honestly, I was on comms yesterday for the game, and I'm normally quite placid when I'm commentating on games, Premier League especially, and I couldn't help all game go into Kieran McKenna's tactics.
I know.
Because why on earth would you, and I'm going to digress slightly, but why on earth would you think you're going to be a team that's going to get relegated and think arrogantly, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to try and outplay one of the best football teams in the country. And it was ridiculous.
It was.
2-0 down after half an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
And then down to 10 men.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, but they destroyed them. Arsenal were, so comfortable in the game.
They didn't even 5 or 6
and
more.
they didn't even break sweat.
Yeah.
I actually said that. I said Arsenal would put their kit straight back on for the next game. Yeah. They didn't even break sweat, so the kit man's got no job.
Chelsea left it really late to win the derby away at Fulham. Did you see enough in their performance to be reassured, Don? Because they've gone through
devastated. It's devastated that Neto scored. But I want Newcastle to get top 5.
That's why.
Exactly why.
Their first half was horrendous, I thought.
Same in midweek, though, on Thursday night against Legia.
So bad, you're right.
So
you're
bad.
Right.
I mean, there was nothing really to grab onto. And I the only thing I can put it down to is Maresca's a disciple of Guardiola.
Yeah.
But when I've ever looked at Chelsea from the 90s all the way up to modern day football, they've never really been a slow pace, pedestrian, keep ball possession side. Not at the Bridge anyway.
Yeah.
Their DNA to me is up and at 'em. Get stuck in, get man for man, get tight, be aggressive, get the ball forward quickly, rely on some fair players to bring the sort of quality. But especially at the Bridge, you've got to do a little bit more in terms of the intensity, because he's starting to lose a little bit with the fans. It's starting to get a little bit toxic. But I tell you what I would say is, when you score a last-minute winner that Neto got, and great goal it was, that can build and it can take you. It's almost better scoring a last-minute goal than scoring a goal with half an hour to go.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Sort of adrenaline just feels that a little bit more, and it's a little bit more heightened. So they can try and take that into the next games, and they have to, because they've got difficult games.
What's
They're
happening
one of
with
the teams that could drop out if they're not careful.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's that we said we talked about it a bit later on that race for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. What's happening with Cole Palmer? Can you try to explain to me why he could have been so good for 18 months and then suddenly...
Do you know, I think he's that type of player. I think he's very carefree, and what you would do, I think if you're managing Cole Palmer, you wouldn't want to bombard him with tactics.
Yeah,
You just let him play and you go,
just
right,
freedom.
Freedom. Right, you go and figure out where you need to play. We'll get you on the ball as much as possible. I think fullback area has been a problem. So Reece James, I think, came off at half-time yesterday. Gusto came off again, I think, with a hamstring problem.
Yeah.
So many Chelsea fans are thinking, well, at any given time, you can see 3 right-backs or 3 left-backs on the pitch, but not necessarily at different positions. They can all be on the pitch at the same time.
Yeah.
So maybe some of the players are not getting the best, or the manager's not getting the best out of Cole Palmer. Jackson's sort of back new over the last couple of games back into the team, but I can't really make any excuses for them.
No, I
because
agree.
they've got a good team.
Yeah.
So
we've seen them playing well this season.
So that tends. I lean then. It has to be a manager thing.
Yeah.
Whether he wants intensity in training, whether he wants intensity in a game, or he's saying to the players, "No, possession's king. Let's play a slow tempo." But I go back to a Chelsea team over the years that don't really fit that style for me.
No, you're right. Manchester City produced a terrible first half at Everton on Saturday, Don, but scored led twice for a huge win for them.
A game that I commentated on Saturday that was screaming out for Jeremy Doku. It was screaming out for him, because I wouldn't have a go at Everton, but they played the game like a testimonial Everton, because they've earned the right. Because Everton over the years have relied on emotion and drama, staying up on the last day of the season. They've earned the right to be carefree. I know David Moyes wants to finish the season well, but I get from a player's point of view that the intensity's just dropped off. And it was a testimonial game for an hour. And then they've just done enough. And I don't mean to be mean on Michael Keane, but when he came on for Tarkowski, the game changed, because he got a yellow card early, couldn't then make a tackle. He made a mistake by not making a 50-50 tackle on the edge of the box, then didn't track Nico O'Reilly for the goal. And then Kovacic's goal was a great strike, which flattered City.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think if you're Man City now, it's look forward to a semi and make sure you finish in the top 5. And they're trying to hit a bit of form, unbeaten in 5. So they're going under the radar in the Premier League slightly.
The race for third, fourth, and fifth places in the Premier League is super exciting, Don. We've said that before. So let's have a look into it. 5 teams right now within 2 points. That can change if Forest beat Spurs on Monday night. We're recording this on Monday morning. But Villa, Forest, and Chelsea on 47 points.
Yeah.
City on 48. Newcastle on 49.
Yeah.
And as we said, Forest have to play Tottenham on Monday night. Who's your money on? We said already before. Newcastle are in. Villa, we were not sure.
Villa we're not sure. Chelsea we're not sure. Man City are in.
Should make it, you think? Yeah,
they're 5 games unbeaten, so they're coming into a bit of form at the right time. Forest I worry for. As we said, we're recording this on Monday, so if they go and beat Spurs, that changes everything.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think they feel the pressure of that Champions League finish?
I got the impression, I'd done the commentary on the Everton game last weekend, and I got the impression that they looked behind their shoulders when they should have been trying to chase Arsenal down. And they approached that game, in my opinion, like they were looking like Chelsea were going to win, Newcastle were going to win, they played Man United, Villa were going to win. So all the teams behind them, when you try and rack it up, because you do that as a manager, as a professional, you always have a look behind you and go, what if? Instead of looking, the form that they've been in, let's try and reel Arsenal in. So that's put them under pressure, having lost the last 2. So this is why the game against Tottenham is massive. So 3 wins on the spin will put them under pressure.
The thing in that race is that they all play each other. So they will play one of the others. I don't know how you say in English. And I think Chelsea are the only one with 2 games. They play Forest and they play Newcastle.
Yeah.
When you're a player and you
analyse it to the nth degree.
But you tick it and say, this is the one. If we win this one, we are almost in that top 5.
So if you're Newcastle, you'll try and bury the Villa game as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And then they've got Ipswich next.
Yeah.
That's St James's. So the chances are they're going to win that one.
Win. And then you know that if you beat Chelsea, then pretty much done.
And Villa have got Man City this Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I think from a Newcastle point of view, we're wanting a Man City win.
Yeah.
Let them go and try and get second, third, or whatever, just to knock Villa down. Chelsea have got really hard.
Yeah, Forest Villa as well, which is big. That
exactly. And Chelsea got really hard fixtures from Everton next, but after that they've got difficult fixtures. So I think, in truth, the 2 sides that I think are going to miss out might be Forest and Chelsea.
Yeah,
I don't say that with any certainty.
No. I think so too.
That's the
I would
impression
say that.
I get.
Yeah, I agree.
Because of the fixtures.
Something else crazy that Wolves did the double on United.
Well, was it?
On Manchester United. Oh, was it? For the first time in like 45 years or something, Wolves went to Old Trafford and won on Sunday dawn. It's another defeat for United and Ruben Amorim.
15.
But they're safe.
They're
going to stay up.
I posted that on social media last night. Amorim's kept Man United up. What a job he's done.
He won 6 league games in 6 months.
15 losses.
Yeah.
I mean,
how is that even possible?
Them and Tottenham this season have been an embarrassment, haven't they? Tottenham 17 losses, Man United 15 losses. I mean, I half get now, it's at the point of the season now where they've got to throw all their eggs in the Europa basket. They have to.
Yeah.
But they've got to show a little bit more and play for pride.
I know.
Off the back of the win against Lyon, you would have thought that euphoria
100%
would have give them some energy.
Yeah.
But I had no doubt, and I said it on Thursday night. I said, I can't rely on Man United beating the Wolves at the weekend.
You're right, absolutely.
Looked like a draw all day long, but brilliant Sarabia free kick.
Yeah.
Outstanding goal, and Arna no chance. But they just need a massive rebuild. And with PSR talk, I don't know how they do it unless they win the Europa League.
And you know the point, okay, the priority is the Europa League, we know that. But do you need momentum the weekend before you play the Thursday in the Premier League? Or let's say if they lose every Premier League game now, I mean, does that have an impact on the form in the Europa League or not really? It's 2 different competitions and your mindset is different.
No, normally, you're right, Jules. Normally, you need momentum and a feel-good factor going into that. But I think with Man United, they've got none.
Yeah,
they've got even if they win their next game, they haven't really got momentum.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the amount of losses out the side and especially how many sides have gone to Old Trafford and beat them.
Yeah,
that's you can have bad away form, but your home form, if you're Man United or any team in the Premier League, I say top team loosely because they're not a top team anymore. But the amount of losses, the 15 they've had, has just been diabolical, really. Yeah. So, it's one of them. I think even for the staunchest of Man United fans, it's what can you do in the Premier League? Even if you win a couple of games, they're not going to move any positions. So you might as well go and try and beat, try and beat Bilbao and try and win the Europa League.
Yeah,
but I mean, they'll potentially go into that competition if Spurs beat Bodo.
Imagine that final
on a plastic pitch.
Yeah,
I mean, it might be a Bodo Bilbao final.
Yeah,
both of them might lose at the semis. I mean, Spurs couldn't even beat Tamworth.
I know.
Before extra time.
Yeah, that's very true.